How about the Boneyard? On a night when these two programs, who have seemingly been linked for the past 30 years, even though they have rare meetings among them, two programs miles apart in every way, yet connected through so many classic goal games with legends on each side. Now Miami and Nebraska started up again. Dynamic, game-changing running backs will be our focus tonight. Each team has a great 8. Shannon Spake sizes them up. Good evening, Shannon.
Well, good evening, Joe. Yes, those number 8s are, of course, Miami's Duke Johnson and Nebraska's Amir Abdullah. They are the star running backs in this game here this evening. Now, Miami linebacker Denzel Perryman told me to prepare for what he's going to see from Abdullah here tonight. He focused on his number 8 in practice. Why? Well, because it is impossible to ignore the similarities between these two backs. Same height, very similar weight, similar in productivity. Perryman said they're both elusive and powerful. Now, Tim Beck, offensive coordinator for Nebraska, knows that this Miami defense is going to try to take Abdullah out of this game. They're going to load the box. He said, we're going to just keep feeding Abdullah the ball, and do not be surprised if we see them get creative in trying to get Abdullah going.
Why not? Get him any way you can. Abdullah will be going after history tonight, looking to become Nebraska's career all-purpose yardage leader. Nebraska won the toss. They defer. Miami will receive the opening kickoff. And they will do so with a lightning-fast Philip Dorsett and Stacy Coley back deep to return the freshman Drew Brown's kickoff.
One of the great venues in all of college football. I took a beating and a pounding in this building in 1998, and I can still say that humbly. To come back here, and you felt it from the minute you landed in Lincoln, Nebraska. When we got to town Thursday night, they were waiting for this moment.
And a deep boot by Brown will go for a touchback. So let's bring out the youngin', shall we? The freshman, Brad Kaya, the quarterback from California, who the coaches have been so impressed by. True freshman quarterbacks, 0-8 against Bo Pelini through the years. And our research goes back at least 20 years, and no freshman quarterback has won here at Nebraska.
And this is not a redshirt freshman Johnny Manziel or Jameis Winston story. This is a kid that got here in May after senior prom. Calm, cool, collected. The coaching staff raves about his poise, but he has never, ever in his life faced the noise and the magnitude of this moment.
He's got a reliable lone back in Duke Johnson. Play action to start. Downfield and complete to Malcolm Lewis. 15-yard reception. Let's take a look at tonight's impact players. Brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Quarterback's best friend, you hear it early and often, is a running game. And Duke Johnson, the fabulous number 8 on his side, has got to get the run going to take the pressure off and allow Kaya to do what he does best, take the shots to Philip Dorsett. And by the way, you better block Randy Gregory. Big Ten sack leader a year ago. He's fresh, he's healthy, and he's revved up for tonight.
Delay handoff to Duke, and a stiff arm is going to get him past midfield, and another one inside the 45. Tackled by Cockrell, a 17-yard run by Duke Johnson.
How about this start? You want to settle down your young quarterback, you come out with a pass, and I love it. Not something conservative or conventional. You come out with an intermediate pass followed by a run. Two explosive kind of plays to get this Nebraska defense on their heels.
Empty set now on first down for the freshman quarterback Kaya. They go with the screen game, and Coley takes a nice inside move, and watch out with him in the open field as Miami moves the change yet again. Really good looking opening drive, another 17-yard advancement.
The biggest fear for Nebraska coming into this game was the speed of Miami, and an excellent block on the perimeter there by Malcolm Lewis, freeing up Coley, who's healthy, who's back. He missed last week with the banged up shoulder, and they really love his return. Compliments Dorsett in this run game very, very well.
And complete to Lewis. It'll be second and short as Kaya looks poised here early on. Josh Mitchell had the coverage on Malcolm Lewis.
Good protection early. You see the cushion, you see the air between a drop back passer, Kaya, and that four-man rush, and even that time with some pressure. Protection in a run game makes quarterback's job infinitely easier.
Here's a play caller's dream. A 2nd and 1 and something to work with as he checks at the line. Kaya looking over his options. And he threw it to the outside of Braxton Berrios. Randy Gregory was coming in with pressure. We may say that often tonight, Brock.
James Coley, offensive coordinator, said he is not afraid to have check with me at the line of scrimmage. You would think with a young quarterback that you're not going to overload and burden him too much. Coley said quite to the contrary, that Kaya is a guy that can absorb their entire offense. He's comfortable, as you said there in that last play with the check with me. And now a real pivotal 3rd and 1 here. Got to score touchdowns in the red zone when you go on the road.
You see how they have struggled in 3rd downs this year. But those have been of the longer variety. And Duke Johnson is able to pick it up, tackled by Nate Gary. Let's check in the studio with Chris Cotter. Thank you, Chris. You're keeping us up to date all night long. Busy day in college football.
They love emptying their tight end out of this set.
And that is complete to Clive Walford, their tight end indeed. The senior hauling it in at the 10-yard line.
That empty, again, maybe contrary to perception, that empty helps a young quarterback. Even though you've only got 5 people protecting for Al Golden, it really helps the quarterback see and declare where that rush is coming from. Not great on 3rd downs, not great in this area of the field, just 7 of 15 in red zone opportunities coming in, and I can't stress it enough. Getting 6 here instead of settling for a field goal. Listen to this crowd.
Kaya is going to be dealing with that all night long, and they're going to get a timeout because of it. As Al Golden was sprinting out. Kaya with 4 completions as they have marched down the field. It'll be 2nd and 5 when we return to Lincoln. Joe, Brock, and Shannon here in Lincoln. Good opening drive for Miami. So they're coming up on their 8th play with freshman quarterback Brad Kaya, who they put it in his hands 5 times already. 4 of 5 for 46 yards.
Smart. This moment's not too big. We're still going to run our check with me. We're going to run our entire system. 5 passes to 2 runs. I think that's a good psychological play out of James Coley, the offensive coordinator, to tell his freshmen this moment's no bigger than any other.
Play action. As he looks to the tight end, Clive Walford, and it'll be 1st and goal Canes. And he was pushed out by Santos.
Big Clive, 6'5", 250 pounds, and been playing a lot of ball here at the U. And they'd like to utilize him down in this area of the field. You can see the mismatch there with Santos, the linebacker, just 6 foot, 225 pounds. Really good, efficient drive here with excellent tempo out of Brad Kaya and the Hurricanes.
They bring in 3 tight ends here. Jumbo set I formation with Duke Johnson as the tailback. 1st and goal. Duke on the pitch and easily takes it in after the nice block by Ronald Regula. So Miami strikes first here on the road in Lincoln.
So that was much too easy from the 2-yard line. This is a run group in Nebraska that's really prided themselves to begin this year. And look at the surge here by the offensive line. A hat on a hat, reestablishing the line of scrimmage. A nice cut down block there by Regula, as you said. But the 92,000 did not expect to see the ease of that drive here to begin the game.
Freshman kicker Michael Badgley puts it through, and for Duke Johnson, third rushing touchdown of his season, 19 career rushing touchdowns now. Not a bad mark when he hits the board. 13-0 is Miami when Duke Johnson gets a touchdown.
So something's got to give, because Bo Pelini 8-0 in his career here against true freshman starting quarterbacks. And if you get 8 going, he is as explosive as anybody on this roster. You combine that, and I don't know about you, Joe, but I felt the speed there. I felt the influence of game changers and playmakers on a defense that was catching them. And you could see Bo Pelini going over and talking. Good look there, John Papuchis, the defensive coordinator, as well. You're catching Miami. You're not attacking. You're reacting, and that's not a good place to be at home.
It felt like it showed up there with Stacy Coley on his 17-yard reception, as well as Johnson's first run of the game. It's the first regular season meeting since 1976. And number 2 Nebraska took Miami back then. And that is pitched back to Abdullah, as he tried to maintain his balance and fight his way to the 19-yard line. One of the stories of the night is Amir Abdullah trying to become Nebraska's career all-purpose yards leader. Needs 138 to pass the great Johnny Rodgers. He went past Mike Rozier a week ago. Armstrong to pass, and that was batted away that time, as that was a good defensive effort by Thurston Armbrister.
Good player. Leads this team in sacks, 4 on the season for Armbrister, senior that's played a ton of ball. Tommy Armstrong, you could see the efficiency there, and he's a winner. He characterizes himself as the toughest guy on the field offensively, does not mind tucking it and running it, and probably right now at his development is his greatest strength.
There's Abdullah. Look at him get to the edge, and when he does, you know what the result is. A first down, Nebraska. 17-yard run by the senior from Alabama.
Strong enough to run inside the tackles, but at his very best when he can bounce it and use that explosive ability.
You see the up-tempo now from Nebraska, and their left tackle, Alex Lewis, moved.
Offense number 71, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Got ACC officials down on the field, led by Dennis Hennigan. Replay official is Steve Newman from the Big Ten.
We're going to play as hard and as fast as we possibly can. Tim Beck said that to us 3 times yesterday, so expect some up-tempo here to try to get a big physical Miami front 7 to get them moving and guessing.
Here's the screen. Kenny Bell gobbled up that time, as Dallas Crawford and Deion Bush were quick to meet him.
10 upperclassmen out of the 11 starters on this defense, 5 of them seniors, and a wealth of experience in that front and front 7.
Option as he stays with Abdullah, sheds the first would-be tackler, and it'll make for a 3rd and a long 2, as McCord was able to get to him.
That's a defensive end. That's Tyreek McCord, 6'3", 250 pounds. That's a little bit of the weight room emphasis from Abdullah, a 570-pound squatter himself.
Armstrong on 3rd down. Crosses midfield all the way to the Miami 40. Let's go to Chris Cotter in the studio. Chris? Thank you, Chris. Amani Cross checks in now as the lone back for Abdullah. First down, Nebraska. Armstrong downfield, wide open. Kenny Bell, touchdown. And let those red balloons fly. First touchdown catch of the year for Kenny Bell. 40-yard strike from Tommy Armstrong.
Told you Tommy Armstrong is a runner. He can also chuck it down the field. And not many better in the history of this program than number 80, matching the U.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy, and Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
They got great Heisman history here at Nebraska. You saw Crouch and Rozier, and Johnny Rogers, the 72 winner, established an all-purpose NCAA yardage mark, was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Kenny Bell actually passed Johnny Rogers last week for number 2 all-time in receptions at Nebraska, and he just hauled in a 40-yard touchdown to match up Miami. A really strong start here to our primetime game. Stacy Coley awaiting the big leg of the freshman Drew Brown, and he boots it again for a touchback. Shannon, what do you have for us?
Well, you know how Bo Pelini and Papuchis can be, defensive coordinator Papuchis can be pretty fiery at times, Joe. Well, that wasn't the case just moments ago with the defense. They were actually pretty calm, just trying to work with their guys, figure out where the breakdowns happened on that first drive with Miami. You know, Papuchis told me yesterday that it was an A for effort for his team in practice this week. He said as far as execution, we'll just have to wait and see. And you know they're going to be looking at this drive to see how that's going.
No doubt, Shannon. John Papuchis, 36-year-old, who's spent a lot of time with Bo Pelini, was a defensive intern for him at LSU, followed him to Nebraska, became the defensive coordinator a couple years ago. Randy Gregory, All-America defensive end. He's got his sights on the freshman, Brad Kaya.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Delay of game. Al Golden says, yeah, there's some bumps in the road when you've got a true freshman. That should not happen coming off of a kickoff return.
Kaya underneath as he gets it to Duke Johnson. And look at all the space he can create. Let's check in with Chris again. How do you figure that, Brock?
Oh, you had that. You were talking about it before.
Oh, yeah,
the game,
sure.
Right?
Sure. Seems each and every Saturday you sit back and you think you know something about college football. You know very little. Here's Duke Johnson on first down. Tried to bounce it out to the right side. And look at him fighting for 3 yards even there as finally Gregory wrapped him up.
Well, here's what we have talked about coming into this game. It's just the overall team speed, and you've seen it now on a number of occasions. When Duke popped his first run on that check down, that's one-on-one with Corey Cooper, the safety, and he couldn't catch him. And even on that, a good job once again by this Miami offensive line. Watch their surge tonight. They're not a just blow you off the ball. They're a group that likes to get a hat on a hat and get the line moving and allow Duke Johnson and his speed to pick his spots.
2nd and 7. Kaya, they only bring 4 after him, but he got pressure from Gregory, and that ball was floated up there. Randy Gregory can cause such trouble in that backfield.
It's too bad the SEC Nation won't be coming to Lincoln, because I promise you he would be Tim Tebow's freak of the week.
He may be the freak of the country.
6'6", 250, and talking to Coach Papuchis and asking him whenever he does go to the combine, what am I looking at? He said, you're looking at high 4'4", 38-inch vertical. Oh. Basically, Jadeveon Clowney minus 15 pounds.
6'6", 245 is Randy Gregory. 3rd and 7. They only bring 3 after the freshman quarterback. And with time, he's able to complete it to Braxton Berrios. Freshman to freshman. Kaya to Berrios for 23 yards and a first down.
Coming into the game, Berrios actually the leading receiver, and he wins right there. That's Cockrell, the nickelback, junior college transfer who has been ahead of schedule, won the job. But when you don't get that early jam on the little undersized Berrios there, when he can win off the line, well, he gave Kaya enough room to convert the third down. A good job here early converting third downs. Been a real problem for them 3 weeks into the season.
Downfield he goes. What an effort that was! David Santos, a diving interception.
That's the big tight end, Walford, and you'd love to see him try to fight and climb and come back to the ball. But the first career interception there by Santos, never giving up on the play. Is this left foot in bounds when he catches that interception, though? Did that right foot come down before the left foot, to me, looked out of bounds on a tremendous effort from the redshirt junior?
Well, they'll take a look at this great athletic effort from Santos.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
Nebraska's ball. Review confirms it.
What a play from Santos, who John Papuchis called his most versatile linebacker yesterday. Kid that can play really all 3 positions, and right there running stride for stride, and he was the one to go attack the ball.
So they'll start from the 5. Abdullah in his own end zone. And he'll work from there. And he's able to wiggle his way out to the 9-yard line.
Jump cut. About as good as anybody in college football. This is the year of the running back, by the way.
Sure is.
If you haven't noticed. This is not the year of the quarterback, and they love to be highlighted. This is the year of the running back in college football, and this kid doesn't get near enough credit. You don't mention him in the same breath with Melvin Gordon and Gurley and all the rest. He should, because his jump cut is as explosive as anyone's.
Goes to work on 2nd and 6. That time he was met by Olsen Pierre. It'll be 3rd and short. There's Big Pierre. He was Al Golden's first recruit. 300-pound senior.
Big.
Been through a lot through the years with this Miami team.
Big third down here for field position purposes. Kaya thought there was no way when that ball left his hand it would be an interception. This defense can give him a little break if they can get off the field here.
Abdullah was stacked up that time by Armbrister. So a 3 and out after the interception.
Armbrister has just come to life this year for this Miami crew. Outside as a pass rusher, in this time I talked to you about attacking and not waiting and hesitating. That time he beats the block of Sam Cotton, the redshirt sophomore tight end. He hesitates for a moment, allows Armbrister to come in and make a really big third down stop.
Came in leading the ACC in sacks, has 4. He's been active against the run as well. Sam Foltz punting away from his goal line, and Stacy Coley back to return. As he had a dive off to the left to secure it. A 49-yard punt by Foltz. 7-7 game here in Lincoln. Brock, you ready for the NFL tomorrow?
Oh, you mean the Seahawks and the Broncos?
You can get ready starting at 10 a.m. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers, and in fantasy football now presented by Papa John's, 11 a.m. on ESPN2. And if you have the Buccaneers defense in your fantasy league this week, then folks, don't even watch tomorrow. Have the Falcons stop scoring, Brock?
No.
Brad Kaya back out there. after throwing his 6th interception of the year. Here's the screen game to Duke Johnson. And Duke with a stiff arm riding that out to the 45-yard line. Here's Chris Cotter. Amari Cooper had a big day, and Kevin White, the other great receiver story this year in college football. And that's a game to monitor. West Virginia and Oklahoma. We'll keep you up to date on that all night long. 2nd and 2. Great effort that time by Santos. Had the interception moments ago, and now the tackle for loss.
It was Santos, but it was set up by his buddy there, Randy Gregory, who's showing you he is not just a one-trick pony and just a pass rusher. He really set the edge there. And when you're playing against a back like Abdullah or like Duke Johnson, you've got to set the edge to allow that second level to flow. Give an assist to Gregory, and the finish once again by Santos.
3rd and 3. A little bit of pressure at the freshman. And it's off the hands of Barrios. Would have had the first down.
Got to make that play. That's a pitch and a catch. You saw it earlier this afternoon with Florida and some of their struggles in the passing game. And especially for a true freshman. Well designed. Enough protection there with the blitz from Nebraska. Just 2 freshmen that got to find a way to finish that one.
Vogel comes on the punt away to Pearsonell. Miami's #1 in the ACC. #6 nationally in net punting. Pearsonell is taken down right away. He's been a good-looking freshman return man, but didn't have a chance that time. Antonio Crawford down on coverage.
I really like the X's and O's that I have seen so far, really from both teams. And that's the throw. Could it have been a foot lower? Sure. Is that a play, though, on 3rd down you have to make? To keep that drive alive, to continue to possess the ball, it absolutely is.
Remember, that's been one of the struggles for Miami this year. 3rd down conversions. On average, they've needed 8.6 yards on 3rd down. They came in 117th in the country. Corner blitz that time, and Armstrong goes out the other side door, but just for a gain of about 1 yard as a flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Holding, offense number 71, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's going to be Alex Lewis. Again, we saw him with the false start earlier. The transfer from Colorado actually began his career as a tight end to Colorado, morphed into a guard, and now he's playing on that open edge, left tackle. And he needs to continue to grow. You can see 6'6", 290. He's highly athletic. But Chickalo across from him, he's savvy, smart senior, 37 consecutive starts. He's going to get right into the grill of Lewis and challenge him physically.
Double stack 2-by-2 formation here, but they will run with Abdullah. As they put the receivers stacked far outside the numbers in spreading the field, and then went on the inside with Abdullah. And this is what we've been tracking all night long, the all-purpose yards mark at Nebraska as he is closing in on Johnny Rodgers. Second and 13. Armstrong with time slings it downfield and snagged out of the air that time, right at the line to make by Alonzo Moore. And they're going to move the chains. That was a great grab.
It was a great grab, but it started with the anticipation. This ball is thrown, you can see it. It's thrown well before Moore ever comes out of his break. That's a conviction throw. I always look for quarterbacks to see how much anticipation they're playing with in the first quarter. That ball out of Armstrong's hands well before the receiver ever turned.
Abdullah gets to the corner fast, lowers the shoulder, and just sprints for a first down. Tracy Howard like a matador that time. Howard, the cornerback for Miami, came up to try to make the play. He had no chance against the speeding bullet of Abdullah.
Smart play. Watch Nebraska's receivers all night long. You know who they're going to go for? The strong safety and the free safety. Make these corners tackle.
Little bubble now to Westerkamp. And Jordan Westerkamp with nifty moves and a gain of 14 yards as they cross midfield. Pac-12 action coming up later tonight. And we got a good one right here. Armstrong keeps it. And he was met. Ball came out. Fumble recovery, Miami. Anthony Chickillo jumped right on it. Senior defensive end Chickillo. Legacy guy, third generation Miami player. Granddad and dad played at Miami as well.
Armstrong's got to get his pads down here. He says he wants to be the toughest player on the team, and I think this is a smart move by Miami. You let him carry it. You don't want to see Abdullah play after play, and you see there Bush come in, put his hat right on the football. Armstrong's got to get down. You have got to find a way to get your pads down there. Big takeaway from the U. Now their sixth fumble that they have forced already in the first 4 games.
Kaya, quick spin, play action, and a good look to Walford, his tight end.
Zaire Anderson all over Walford, but there again is the advantage of some of that size. The U has put out plenty of tight end into the NFL that knows how to use that frame to leverage their size and their length. Can't cover it much better, but an excellent connection there with Walford.
And an excellent first quarter here in Lincoln. It started off with offensive fireworks. We saw Abdullah come down the field, Armstrong connect, but then the defense has tightened up here in Lincoln. Stay with us. Joe Brock and Shannon here, 7-7 start of the second quarter at Nebraska. Chickillo had the fumble recovery moments ago as Nebraska's Tommy Armstrong coughed it up after that hard hit. Not much room there for Duke Johnson. Shannon.
Well, Joe, after Brad Kaya threw that interception, I watched him over on the bench with offensive coordinator James Coley. He stared at the Jumbotron, didn't even really pay attention to what Coley or look at James Coley. You could tell he was mentally trying to shake it off. This last time when he was over on the bench, engaged. You could tell he was very focused, and you could tell he was ready to get back out there. Al Golden, when I asked him about his quarterback's preparation for this game, he said he's the quarterback at the University of Miami. He better be ready for environments like this.
Gained a lot of confidence last week against Arkansas State. Set the school record for most passing yards in the game for a freshman. 342. Second and 9. And that was Duke Johnson out of the backfield, breaking loose inside the 10. It'll be first and goal, Miami. Good look from Kaya on the wheel route, 32 yards.
Good look, but all set up with some brilliant X's and O's. You saw Clive Walford, the tight end, split out, takes the linebackers out of the equation. And Duke Johnson is such a good and capable receiver as well. We've highlighted the speed mismatch time and again. That's Banderas, the middle linebacker. He's beaten Cooper. He is just a mismatch out in the open field.
Big number 7 checks in for Duke Johnson. That's Gus Edwards. He goes 230 pounds, the sophomore running back. First and goal. Play action. To the end zone. Caught. Touchdown, Clive Walford. Third touchdown this year for the senior tight end.
Set up by the fumble recovery from Chickillo and the defense getting those takeaways. Such a big component of what Miami has done so far this season. From Jimmy Graham to Jeremy Shockey. Plenty of tight ends have come through the University of Miami. And when you get that big body down in the red zone, give him an opportunity. Excellent pass connection, Kaya, with the senior tight end.
Badgley makes it 14-7. Clive Walford. He caught Kaya's first touchdown pass and now his 8th. This is what set it up. Deion Bush, the forced fumble. Chickalo, the recovery. And then Kaya, the freshman. Steely. Geno Smith and the Jets taking on Jay Cutler, Brandon Marshall, and the Bears. It's Monday Night Football, Bears-Jets, Monday at 8:15 on ESPN. By the way, Geno's old college team is playing pretty well tonight against Oklahoma. West Virginia and Oklahoma tied up. Clive Walford had the touchdown catch moments ago. In case you missed it, video of that touchdown now posted on your SportsCenter app.
Ready for play clock had not started.
When you're watching a freshman quarterback and wondering if this moment in this stage would be too big, Kaya knows he's got an unblocked defender. We've seen Santos. He already had the interception off of him. He knows who's blocked, who's unblocked. And to be able to plant his foot and to sit strong and not be affected by that rush, it's a really good sign. Trent Dilfer worked with Brad Kaya at Elite 11. His camp, he works with so many of these kids. And chatting with Trent this week, he said no moment has ever been too big for him. Very, very poised. A big reason he's won this job. And how about 11 for 15, $166 in the touchdown. Not a bad first 16 minutes of play.
And Nebraska's Bo Pelini went on to tell us this week, he said, listen, they haven't scaled anything back or adapted anything. He's learned that offense, and he executes that offense. Here's Amir Abdullah. As Abdullah gets just beyond the 20. What's up, Chris? And it's a magnificent night here, fortunately for us, in Lincoln. And it's been good action on the field to match it as well. Abdullah, he cut it back. He tried to get outside the right tackle, and then he cut it back around McCord.
Better job there, though, on the edge. We have seen Miami lose contain on a couple of those earlier runs. A better job there by McCord, but there you still see the strength of a 195-pound man. At first contact, he is not going backwards or going down. That's 6 yards on a play that was pretty well defended by Miami.
This is Newby now with Abdullah blocking. Oh, actually, it was kept that time by Armstrong, and McCord made the tackle. Did a good job selling it as Kamalu came in that time. Armstrong, of course, had the fumble earlier. 25 yards on the ground for the sophomore quarterback. Such a strong, physically imposing player.
Like to take their shots out of this stack alignment.
Abdullah kept his balance, stiff arms his way for a gain of 9. Artie Burns had to ride him down with Darian Owens.
Sometimes weight room numbers don't tell the story, and then sometimes they do. 200 pounds, squats 570, and that's why he can run through those tackles. And all you got to do is ask McNeese State when they had 8 guys trying to tackle him in the final 40 seconds and couldn't get it done.
I think probably the play of the year so far in college football, that game-winning 58-yard touchdown. And Armstrong will have the first down as Owens finally got to him. 6-yard run by Tommy Armstrong.
Nebraska rotating offensive linemen through. You can see Condolo 70, Utter 66. With the tempo they play, they'd like to get a lot of fresh bodies on that offensive line in and out. Reeves at center as well.
Little tap pass to Kenny Bell. And he has those shifty moves, keeping his balance. Kenny Bell, just like his dad Ken Bell used to do for Boston College and the Denver Broncos. A great special teamer himself.
Passing yards, right? Shortest completion
right.
you're going to find.
Those Geno Smith tap passes from Orange Bowls of yesteryear, right?
Just find a way to burden and threaten that defense out on the edge, not just with your running backs, multiple receivers. You'll see fly sweep as well. May see Wildcat tonight, a variety of options.
And here is Abdullah with the direct snap and another first down for the Huskers. Tack on 7 more yards to his night. He's only 41 yards away from passing Johnny Rodgers and becoming Nebraska's career all-purpose yards leader. You think about the greats who have played here. As he tacks on 4 more.
And I wonder what the odds were when Amir walked on campus 4 years ago at about 175 pounds out of Alabama. He wasn't a 5-star recruit. This is a self-made guy, the epitome of a student athlete in this day and age. He sets the tone for everybody. You can see it in his work ethic, his style. He demands that everybody else in that huddle match his level of physicality.
Here he comes in motion. And instead it's cross, and a flag comes down, just a gain of 1.
Holding, offense number 65, 10-yard penalty, second down.
You bring up how unlikely it is that Abdullah would be on the precipice of history here. He grew up in the heart of the SEC. He was an Auburn fan. He got a late offer from Auburn in his recruitment to play defensive back, not running back, defensive back. But he stuck with his Nebraska verbal commitment, and he has blossomed through the years into truly one of the best. They talk about the tiers of the great ones here, and they say, listen, he's at the top of tier 2. Will he be put among those greats? Tonight could be one of those nights that steps him forward in his legacy. And Nebraska's going to take a timeout. They will be facing a 2nd and 16 when we return.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever.
They've been doing this since 1940s. After the Huskers' first score, thousands of helium balloons released into the sky. Kenny Bell had the 40-yard touchdown. And oh, what a beautiful night it is here in Lincoln in front of 91,585. That's a new Memorial Stadium record. 300th straight home game with a score. And of course the sellouts date back to 1962 here. And this is the biggest crowd ever to watch Nebraska at home. As Abdullah takes it to the 40-yard line, met by Perryman and Chicolo.
I love the patience that Nebraska is showing tonight. 16 runs to just 6 passes. Even though Miami coming into this game, one of the best in the country at stopping the run, top 15, 89 yards a game. Really committed to this run game. It will set the table for everything else throughout.
Here's Armstrong on 3rd and 11. Rifles it and gets it. Kenny Bell. His 4th catch of the night, and that was a big one to move the chains.
They haven't thrown a ton, but when they have, that's a one-on-one with Artie Burns. And he thinks he's done his job gaining contact there with Kenny Bell. Tommy Armstrong, there is no off-speed in his game. He is a flamethrower.
He is full throttle.
The game is not his strength, but throwing rockets and lasers down the field is.
Just muscles it every which way. And Amir, like a pinball, bouncing forward to the 15-yard line. He goes 8 more yards.
Look at the forward lane, and we highlighted on the other side Duke Johnson in that offensive line, just reestablishing the line. There is nobody there. Miami is reaching, is diving, is guessing. There is nobody establishing that edge that is critical to their whole defensive plan.
Armstrong pulled it. It was the right read inside the 10, ridden down to about the 6 by Artie Burns. Kenny Bell had a nice block for his quarterback, Tommy Armstrong.
This is how you do it. An excellent job there of riding the mesh point with Armstrong, pulling it. Putting Nebraska right on the verge of matching touchdown for touchdown.
First and goal. Here's Armstrong. That time he surged ahead down to the 3-yard line, met by Denzel Perryman.
Notice the pad level after that initial fumble. It's getting down. He knows, and especially in this area of the field, for the Perryman and these safeties that like to tackle, the earlier fumble when his pads were awfully high. Nice job there by Armstrong to get down.
Second and goal. Armstrong. Plenty of time. But Hovey was hit so hard, and that's incomplete. Worked out better for Nebraska as Artie Burns came up defensively.
That's what you call tackling through the man.
Wayne Hovey's going to be feeling that. Third and goal.
Multitude of options here. Armstrong, Abdullah. They too are not afraid to go to their tight ends in these situations as well.
14th play of the drive. Third and goal. Abdullah out of the backfield. Can he? Yes! Amir Abdullah.
We're going to have a good one tonight in this sea of red, Tess.
Already is, my man. Already is. As advertised, Miami and Nebraska. Feels like old times, doesn't it? We're all tied up, 14 apiece. Now, we said it seems like old times. Well, the old times were one of the best times of all time. Maybe one of the most significant games ever played. 84 Orange Bowl. Remember the fumble Rooski with Dean Steinkühler? #1 Nebraska was a double-digit favorite. Miami led 31-17 in the fourth quarter. Turner Gill had the pitch and then the 2-point conversion. Safety Ken Calhoun for the Canes. Batted away as Howard Schnellenberger gets Miami their first national championship. Coach Osborne went for it, and he's here for this one tonight. As are 91,585, a record crowd here at Memorial Stadium. 14-14. So glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore, Brock Heward, Shannon Spake here in Lincoln. This will be Stacy Coley as he is corralled at about the 23-yard line by Jonathan Rose. Let's check in with Chris Cotter. Interesting to see all the twists and turns. Of course, South Carolina had the thriller with Georgia last week. How about this guy, Randy Gregory? He is pumped up as his offense just had a season-high 14-play drive and tied this game.
6 minutes as well, so this defense had plenty of time to get fresh.
Whistles and a flag came in. Is this another delay of game off a kickoff?
Offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
I mean, that's mind-numbing, but it is what it is with a freshman quarterback and 91,000 screaming fans.
And those are their only 2 penalties of the night. That's it. They have been very disciplined in every other phase. 2 penalties, 10 yards, and both of them just not having an awareness of that play clock.
Listen to this crowd roar. Nate Gary wraps up Johnson. Shannon.
So, Joe, that Abdullah touchdown did a lot more than just put 6 points on the board. It injected a new energy into this Nebraska defense. I was watching them before they went out, and they were pumped up. You could tell that the fans as well got in on it. The delay of game, it has gotten so loud in this place. It sounds like when the game first kicked off, it's that loud.
No doubt, Shannon. 2nd and 11.
Joe, that was a dead play. That was a safety blitz. That should have been a 0 or negative, but you see the talent of these backs tonight getting yards when there really are none to be made.
Sprint out from Kaya. Almost picked and almost caught by Malcolm Lewis. Both Cockrell and Lewis had their chances.
The nickelback junior college transfer makes an excellent read, gets his fingertips on it, and because of it distracts Coley. But this is danger zone, 3rd and 11. A problematic area. 3rd downs, 122nd in college football converting.
Timeout, Miami.
This will be a full timeout.
Loud and proud indeed for Big Red. Tune in Sunday, Matt Holliday, the NL Central leading Cardinals, hosting Brandon Phillips and the Reds. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. We're going to crank up the volume just a little more here on 3rd and 11. Kaya is going to take a shot downfield, and he overthrew Philip Dorsett.
I like the idea. We've not called Dorsett's name. He's really their big play, game changer on the perimeter. 4 touchdowns, electric with 3 plays over 50 yards a week ago. So I understand the concept to get him involved. But if you're going to live in 3rd and extra long, you're going to be doing a lot of punting the rest of the way.
Speaking of that, Delmorny Pearsonell, the freshman, had an 86-yard punt return for a touchdown last week. And this is not a good-looking one. It's a line drive that gives him an option. And he gets through the first wave, so they'll have good field position here in Lincoln on a classic night. We talked about it. You put these brand names together, and something special happens. People try to dismiss it this week. Not the 91,000 here. They remember the good old times of these two meeting up, deciding 4 national titles among them. Great atmosphere here.
And I think that's the important element. None of these players were around in 1984. None of them were around. And Art Kehoe, the O-line coach at Miami, said this week, who's been a part, by the way, of all 5, that was the biggest game in the history of the Miami program. He told us that last night in our meeting. He went through a beautiful history of the game of college football and how meaningful these matchups were. And these 91,000 that had to watch so many of those games in the Orange Bowl to get the Hurricanes in their building, you're right, you can feel it tonight.
And this guy's a big part of it, that energy. As Amir Abdullah gets out to the 49-yard line, met by Jenkins and Pierre.
Well, he is just getting going. And with both of these backs, when you play good backs, you cannot let them get started. And you have really seen very few occasions where he has been flat-footed in the backfield. Everything is going forward, and thus the productivity is followed.
He's 19 yards away from becoming Nebraska's career all-purpose yards leader. 2nd and 4. Abdullah again. You want 19? Could have history right here.
One of the real concerns Miami had defensively was the cutback. They talked about everybody has to play the cutback. The challenge is when everybody's playing cutback, no one's getting off blocks and winning at the point of attack.
He just tied Johnny Rodgers for the most all-purpose yards in this great power program's history. Amani Cross now as the big back muscles his way forward. First and Armbruster came up to meet him. He's been active all night long, the senior from South Florida.
It has been run right, it has been run left, and most importantly, it's been an offensive line. Look at this surge. I said earlier, they're not a power team. They are a zone team. But look at that. Outside of Chickalo, you have every other Hurricane defender 3 yards pushed backwards. The yards are coming Abdullah's way. The tip of the cap goes to an offensive line that's dominating right now.
Here's the reverse. Pearson L. with his quarterback trying to spring a block, but the pursuit came right in from Corn Elder. That was a good, sound job by Corn Elder. He stayed with it. So it'll be 3rd and 3.
The Wildcat look again.
First down in history. Nobody's done it better than Amir Abdullah at Nebraska. More yards than anyone in the grand history of this program. This is Johnny Rogers, the 72 Heisman winner. What a career for Abdullah. And getting himself down to the 10-yard line as his fullback, Andy Janovich, is trying to lead the way.
We've shown Tom Osborne tonight. Many of the greats here celebrating the 20-year anniversary of that championship. And I'll tell you, every one of them is looking at this brand of football and recognizing it. You know what's coming. This is a run game, and there's nothing better than when your opponent knows it and they load up that box and they still can't stop it.
That time he was bottled up, and it was Kamalu.
Becomes a sizable play just from the back and forth of a football game. One I think you see with both teams that have vulnerabilities, and both of them have some tremendous assets as well. But those points that you can score going into and out of half, we talk about it all the time, situational football. Miami can find a way to hold this Nebraska group to 3, even though they've been run on this entire half. They feel good going into halftime. And on the other side, you find a way to get this into the end zone. You know offensively, they can't stop what you're doing.
3rd and 5. They brought Newby and Cross into the game. There was a bit of confusion as to where Newby was going to line up there. 3rd and 5 when we return. 8th play of a drive here for Nebraska as they try to break this tie before the half. They have done it on the ground, grinding away. A few explosive plays by Abdullah, facing a 3rd down and 5. Ball cresting the 10-yard line.
Let me remind you, this is a Miami group, number 8 in the country in total yards against the 259. Had given up coming into this game just 2 yards a rush, 4th in college football.
Sign said, check out these abs. Here's the ab of choice. Play stopped at the line with the flag, as Armstrong thought he had a free one. Bo Pelini will be looking for an explanation.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
And then Pelini saying, well, then why didn't we have a free one to take a shot to the end zone? Why was it whistled? He made contact there.
Yep.
That's the point there.
Yep. It wasn't much.
That nose man as you saw him touch.
And it wasn't much, and it probably wasn't enough for Bo to see on the sidelines from his vantage point.
Even Tommy Armstrong, who was just a man away, didn't see it. He threw that pass to the end zone.
Boy, what a critical error and mistake by Miami.
1st and goal. Option, near side, pitch, Abdullah. Can he cut it back? Just gets back to the line of scrimmage. There's that lateral speed of that Miami front seven playing a big role there.
It's the prettiest 0-yard run you're going to see. No gain on what should have been a -5, as Miami finally has some discipline out there with their leverage and containment.
Amani Cross checks in at running back for the Huskers. Helmet came off the tight end Carter as Armstrong went ahead for 2 yards. Cross was trying to work his way on that quarterback lead, but it was bottled up. So Carter will have to come out here for 3rd and goal, and Sam Cotton will come in.
Gotta imagine you're going to find a creative way here, even in your progression. If you're a quarterback, you've got to know your final outlet's going to be Abdullah. Wherever he is on the field, he's been impossible to tackle tonight.
The runner's helmet came off with less than a minute remaining in the quarter and the clock running. The play is subject to a 10-second runoff.
Now, they said the runner's helmet came off, but it's obviously Ethan Carter, number 11, the tight end. But one of the newer timing rules in college football.
It really shouldn't have much bearing and effect on us here in the final minute. Nebraska a timeout in a 3rd and goal situation. And as I said, if you're not going to run it here as effective as you've been running the game, the young quarterback has to know where Abdullah is, where his checkdowns and his outlets are, because he has been.
4 seconds and start the clock on my signal.
He really has been tough for Miami to contain in every phase of their defense.
So 44 seconds and counting down here in 3rd and goal.
Miami's trying to bait here. Look at their 2 deep safeties and a little run pass check, trying to bait them into running the ball here.
Kenny Bell, top of the screen. Armstrong, quarterback run. And he's taken down by Armbruster. They have 1 timeout remaining here as he looks over to the sideline, and Bo Pelini calmly struts out, and he's going to let that run down and use that timeout. And there it is.
You got to get your points.
So Drew Brown, the freshman kicker, will come on out to do his business, and we'll get some business done with Chris Cotter in an update. Yeah, Madison, they were running the ball like crazy, Wisconsin, today. Down there at Alabama, Amari Cooper had his way. There's some wild scores, some head shakers throughout college football tonight. Chris and the guys will get you caught up as we got one of the most entertaining games of the night happening right here in Lincoln, as Drew Brown, the freshman kicker, the younger brother of the longtime NFL veteran Chris Brown, who played 12 seasons in the league, with the chip shot attempt. 19-yarder for the freshman. Smooth and easy. They should do this a little more often, shouldn't they, Brock? Just the 11th meeting of what's always been a classic clash. Let's go down to the field to Shannon.
Coach, you told me before the game that your quarterback was going to have to learn to deal with environments like this. How has he handled it?
I think he's doing a good job. You know, we had the 1 red zone error, which, you know, we got to stack the receiver down there, and we had 2, delay games to start series. We can't have that. Other than that, he's really throwing it really well, and we're doing a good job protecting him.
You knew this Nebraska run game was going to be tough to stop. What needs to be different for you guys to stop it?
Well, we got to tackle better. We got to get them off on their first down efficiency. It's an option team, so they're going to keep running it. We got to get some negatives, and we got to get off the field on 3rd down. We got to tackle better, too.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
His freshman quarterback, Kaya, 11 of 17, 166 yards. Abdullah, 120 yards rushing in that first half for Nebraska with a 17-14 lead. Chris Cotter and the guys in the Outback Steakhouse halftime report. Take it away, gentlemen. Record crowd here in Lincoln to take in the Canes and the Huskers. And oh, what a good one they have seen. 17-14, Nebraska broke the tie with a field goal before the half. Ran the ball well, 174 yards rushing for Nebraska on 29 run plays, averaging 6 yards per rush attempt.
Amir Abdullah is really good. We talked about him in the very open of this show, the difference maker that he is, and he's done it inside and he's done it outside tonight. 0 negative yards. He is dragging Miami all over this field. You could see him early bouncing the ball outside, and he loves contact, is willing to take it on, but also shows you the burst to get into the end zone. Miami has no answers right now for Abdullah. And then defensively, some real one-on-one breakdowns. When you're playing an option team, you see Tyreek McCord there out on the edge. You have to take care of your responsibility. And the top of the screen already burns. One misstep, eyes in the backfield for 1/2 second against an Abdullah and an Armstrong, and they're going to make you pay. 75% run for Nebraska. That is the recipe to possess the ball 2-1 and really control this game at the line of scrimmage.
Look what Nebraska, Bo Pelini's done in the third quarter this year, outscoring opponents 34-7. Adjustments. When you're an NFL guy, and Bo Pelini's been in the NFL for 9 years around some of the greats in the game, to me that's reflective of what they do at halftime. Really digging in and having the communication as a staff to make the proper adjustments. Not many adjustments needed offensively. We'll see what kind of tweaks they find defensively when they get back on the field. Abdullah takes a knee. Shannon.
Well, guys, for Nebraska, it seems that first half, the biggest adjustment was simply settling down. That is exactly what Coach Pelini told his defensive guys when Miami opened this game with that touchdown-winning drive. He said the emotions got the best of them. They were a little juiced up. They were making simple mistakes out there. I did ask him, Brock, I know you like to know where the coach's eyes will be in the game, and he told me hopefully in the end zone watching them score, and he had a smile on his face.
Shannon listens so well, doesn't she? One of your favorite questions to ask a coach.
Where do my eyes need to be? Golden told us really clearly it was the line of scrimmage, and that's been dominated by this group right here.
Well, here's where everybody's eyes have been in recent years. Amir Abdullah met by Deion Bush, but on a night when Abdullah has become the career all-purpose yards leader for Nebraska.
About on average there, Al Golden said that first down defense has been the killer tonight. 7.6 yards on first down, setting the table for everything else in the production. And all-purpose yards #1. More than likely, if he stays on pace, he'll be just behind Mike Rozier as the second leading rusher in the history of this program as well.
Fumbles the ball there on 2nd and 2, but was fortunate to curl around it and secure it back as Armbruster was in on that play.
Here's your first negative rush play. 29 attempts, 30 attempts. That's your first negative rush, and just some miscommunication there in that zone read option game between quarterback and tailback.
There's a 3rd and 3 now. 4 of 6 on 3rd downs. Armstrong to pass. And just gets it for a first down. As Alonzo Moore was able to fall forward.
Just gets it. I told you the fastball. There is no off-speed pitch.
There's no finesse known by Tommy Armstrong.
3 yards away, and I'll stick it between the 8 and the 2, 100 miles an hour.
Pulls it that time. And is able to get out to the 41-yard line, met by Perryman and Kirby. See the success that they had on first down against Miami in the first half tonight. The big Texan, Tommy Armstrong. Abdullah hits that next gear. and crosses midfield. 17 more yards for Amir Abdullah.
This run game presents two real challenges to any defense they're going to face this season. That cutback we talked about earlier, and the concern that everybody has defensively to make sure you're so conscious of the cutback, and that option game where you have to play to your assignment, that man-on-man assignment. Those two aspects of it have made it really difficult on what's been a good rush defense coming into tonight.
Amani Cross getting some work now for a moment to the 39-yard line, met by Hurtaloo.
You're just not seeing really at any point in any of these 30-some runs for Nebraska where Miami is setting the edge, where they are setting the tone. They are constantly reacting to this run game. And that's over 200 yards here for an outfit that's averaged 324 a game on the season.
34 runs to just 10 passes, but here's number 11 as Cethan Carter was calling for the flag and Armbruster made contact with him.
Pass interference defense number 34. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
That's Cethan Carter, the true sophomore, right there on the edge. And it's a pretty easy call right in front of the officials. Stick to your guns, man. I love it. If you're a rocket launcher and you love to throw with some serious steam, Armstrong has real conviction to that in his game.
That's Newby in motion, but Armstrong takes it, gets a good block, and into open field inside the 20-yard line. Well-designed play. 14-yard gain.
Says Miami guessing. Considers himself a running back that happens to throw the ball. That's what we've seen tonight.
That's what he looked like there. Good play by Thurston Armbruster, and indeed named after Thurston Howell III on Gilligan's Island. Thurston Armbruster.
Finally a forceful tackle. I mean, how many of those have you seen tonight where you've actually driven Abdullah backwards? Not many.
Really spreading the field here with this stacked formation of receivers beyond the numbers. As he goes to Moore. That's his third catch. Take a look at the mark here, as it'll be third and short. So a third down and 1. Line to make is the 7.
On the prior play was a completed pass. The play is under further review.
There's Alonzo Moore who had the reception. As they're going to take a look here, see if they have any indisputable video evidence to say otherwise. Has to maintain that firm control throughout. His body was rolling and shielding there. This may give us a better view.
And Moore could feel the safety there. Jamal Carter breathing down. The throw takes him down and away from that contact. And I think he is shielding the football, giving us a tough look there, and the officials as well. They're looking at the exact same pictures that we look at.
Saw Moore with both hands wrapped around this ball here, securing it. And then his body coming around the ball right there. And from all of the looks we've seen, you do not see video evidence.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
There was not that indisputable evidence to reverse the call at all there. So here comes that 3rd and 1. They come right down the field in this opening drive. 9 plays, 67 yards. Can they get one more and keep marching in against the Canes defense? It'll be 1st and goal, Nebraska.
Look what you're doing as well. We saw the drive before half. You've already eaten 5 minutes here the second half. And there is nothing better for a program and a culture that prides itself in running the football and always has, to run it right at Miami. Look at the hands on the hips. The defense has been on the field for the majority of this game.
Abdullah.
Senior's making a statement tonight, isn't he?
Sure is.
Todd Gurley gets a lot of attention. Melvin Gordon gets a lot of attention. A lot of really good backs this season in college football. When it comes to what Abdullah's done in this program, breaking records, what he means to this team this season as a captain of this crew. One guy has not brought him down all night.
And he came in as the nation's leading returning rusher this year. He's finally starting to get the attention and respect that he deserves as one of the very, very best, helping the cause here at home in front of a record crowd tonight.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff.
Tom Osborne will play a big role in the new college football playoff. Member of the 13-person selection committee. Who's in this year? Already had a lot of clarity and starting to answer things in this young season. As Nebraska, we told you, people dismissing the Big Ten after what happened to Ohio State and Michigan State, but here they are with that glossy record and a good non-conference opponent in front of them. Stacy Coley on the return. Reminder, 10 a.m. on ESPN. Start your NFL Sunday with Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers. And get that lineup set with Fantasy Football Now presented by Papa John's at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning on ESPN2. This will be Miami's first play of the third quarter. They only ran 6 plays in the second quarter, bro.
It's been a long time since Brad Kaya was on the field, and he's watched Nebraska go up and down the field with the run game, but you have to take a breath. You have to have a level of patience and know there's a ton of football to play. The worst thing you can do is try to force the issue right now.
Down 10 as they start their second half. Kaya with a lot of time downfield and just beyond the reach of Braxton Berrios.
That was really good coverage that time by Nathan Gary. And when Bo Pelini tells Shannon Spake coming out of halftime, we just have to play our assignments. We were a little jumpy. We were out of character in that opening drive. Outside of that first touchdown, you have seen them settle down defensively. And a play like that from Gary, pretty representative, being spot on in his coverage.
2nd and 10. See if Miami can stay on schedule here, down in distance a bit. Not put themselves in a 3rd down and long. And Duke Johnson helps with that. As they're do it all back. He's taken down by Valentine.
Got to find a way to get him more carries here in the second half. He's averaged just 14 this season. That's his 8th of the evening. And he, like his counterpart, the grade 8 on the other side, has also been really productive in the touches he's gotten.
Third and 3. Boy, is it loud here. Here's the screen. And Coley will get that first down. Stacy Coley, a dynamic playmaker. This last week's game with a shoulder injury. Good to have him back for the Canes.
Joe, that's a big 3rd down conversion for a group that's not had many of them this season now. 3 of 5. And just for an opportunity to let your defense gather on the other side to put some of the pressure back on this Nebraska team. Find completions, move the chains, have patience.
19-year-old quarterback, Brad Kaya. And stiff arm from Duke Johnson. Boy, we talked about the great eights on both sides tonight. You saw what Abdullah's done all night long, and Duke Johnson with the extra effort as well, the other number 8.
You know what they have in spades, both of them? Tremendous balance.
Oh, very much so.
Exact same size, about 5 pounds. The only thing that separates them, both 5'9", right around 200 pounds. Low center of gravity, tremendous balance, always moving forward.
Compact power out of both guys. Another first down for Miami. And a drive they need here. Swings it out of the backfield as Johnson makes the first man miss. Is that a flag? Yeah, face mask there. As Josh Banderas was getting after Duke Johnson.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 52. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Banderas flag there. His dad played for Coach Osborne back in the 80s. He's a local product from here in Lincoln. They go empty here on first down. 3 receivers to the top of your screen, 2 to the bottom for Kaya. Here's the screen. Can the short game get working? That was bottled up by David Santos.
Some confusion there in that empty set. Nebraska running around a little bit. I'll tell you, I'm a little confused that we have not called Philip Dorsett's name. You want to talk about the single most explosive player on the field. Abdullah, obviously, as a running back, is special, but this kid in space can flat out fly. And whether it's a bubble screen, a shallow cross, a man beat, or finding a way to get Dorsett the ball, critical here in the second half.
Here's the Duke on a delay. Inside the 30. Powers his way to the 20. What's up, Chris Cotter? Good one going on there. And it's been a good one throughout the night here as Miami is trying to match. Nebraska came right out strong in the second half. And Kaya piecing together a fine-looking drive himself now. And here is that screen game you talked about. Malcolm Lewis to the 15.
Spraying the ball around, having patience, getting those completions, and matching that Nebraska drive. So important here. That's not enough. I know you got a lot of playmakers and you want to get Duke Johnson involved as well. End around, find a way to get your fastest player involved.
Gus Edwards. And he gets down to the 11-yard line. The 230-pounder from Staten Island, tackled by Banderas.
Now, to be fair, Nebraska has played a ton of 2 safeties back there. Not many one-on-one opportunities. Not very many third down conversions this season, but 3 of 5 tonight in a very manageable 3rd and 1 here.
3rd down and 1, they stay with Edwards as the running back. Johnson's not in there. And he spins his way for the first down. So it'll be a 1st and goal for the Canes in a drive that they had to have, Brock.
This feels like an NFL game, doesn't it? When you look at the number of possessions. We watched Alabama earlier. 5 possessions in the first quarter for the Crimson Tide alone in that game. We have just 5 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. 1 possession aside. Pretty good on 3rd down because many of those have been 3rd and short situations.
Play action now. The freshman to the end zone. Did he get it? Touchdown, Canes, Malcolm Lewis. A 9-yard touchdown pass. Kaya to Lewis, just when they needed it most.
Pretty.
Oh, look at the footwork, huh?
That's good in the league that plays tomorrow. What a fantastic drive, and the resolve and the guts. Give James Coley a ton of credit, offensive coordinator. I can complain about not getting Dorsett involved, but that complaint should go mute as they moved it right down the field methodically and had that level of patience to deliver. You see the fist bump between coordinator and quarterback.
Just like they started the game. Matching touchdowns to open the second half. This one to the sophomore Lewis.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering, and Joseph A. Bank. We fit most everyone. JOSbank.com.
Nebraska's 1994 national title team. Tom Osborne's first, honored earlier tonight. Pre-game, they participated in the tunnel walk. Tommy Frazier and the gang. Remember that Orange Bowl against these Miami Hurricanes. All the shared history these two programs have. 4 times they decided national championships on the field. This is the 11th matchup between them. So many great moments through the years. Most of them in Orange Bowls. And here they are with a good-looking one in September. Abdullah on the return. And it's a good return as he keeps it going all the way past the 30. He just never stops, Shannon.
Well, the Miami defensive line coach, Jethro Franklin, he was getting into his guys when they were on the bench just now, specifically senior Olsen Pierre. He does not like the way that they're squaring up, the way that they're blocking those guys. Remember, they said no seams. That was what they needed to do to battle this Nebraska run game. He told them, go out and do your job, and we know that what that job will be.
We know what they've been facing with the Nebraska run game. 230 yards rushing for Nebraska tonight. And plenty of this. Amir Abdullah finding Green and moving the chains. He does it again.
Well, what he's screaming at his defensive lineman, I am sure as well, is don't overthink it. Get off of your blocks. It's fine to have that concern for the cutback, but look at this. You're all engaged and not one guy disengages to get off his block and finish the tackle, including even Perriman. Your all-conference player that's letting these linemen get on top of them, and they just cannot win those battles.
Keep it with Amani Cross that time for about 2.5 yards. Tackle by Jenkins.
This is not an attacking single gap defense. This is a group that mixes from a 3-4 to a 4-3. They ask those guys to engage and stay square, as you heard Shannon talking about, and that is all good and dandy. But you also have to shed those blocks, stop the forward momentum of Abdullah, and get yourself off the field.
Here is Newby now. Terrell Newby even finding some positive yardage there. It'll be another first down. He goes for 8 yards.
Really good blocking on the perimeter tonight. You have seen these Nebraska receivers time and again get blocks, and Kenny Bell over and over has been so good down the field. Get to those safeties, make those corners come up and do what they don't like to do, and that's come up and try to tackle.
Key part of all long runs. Receivers getting involved. Armstrong now. That is picked off. Tracy Howard, as Armstrong was well off the mark. He was looking for Westerkamp. Never had a chance there.
Well, and you could see the reaction with Pelini there, dumbfounded by really the first critical error his quarterback has made tonight. Worst place any quarterback can be, coming off the sidelines and your head coach chewing your ear about your decision. I am convinced that Tommy Armstrong decided before this play that he was going to throw the wheel route. Why do I know that? Because look at the separation of Kenny Bell here. He predetermined where he was going with this pass. He reads it through. He takes Kenny Bell. He may still be running a one-on-one for a touchdown. You can never predetermine where you're going to throw the ball.
So a chance here for Miami, trying to set up the screen. That never had a chance at all. A lot of Nebraska fans probably asking, why would we throw in a situation like that? The running game was working with such big chunk plays.
Run to set up the pass. You have a wide open Kenny Bell. Yep. All of those eyes are affected on that run game. You could see the linebackers. Nobody got into their drop. I mean, give some credit to Tracy Howard, who baited him into that throw, that wheel route. But just read your progressions.
And it was there if he had. But instead, the interception by Tracy Howard.
You'd expect a true freshman to make that kind of decision and mistake. Something we've not seen as Kaya does the smart thing on the screen pass and throws it away.
Kaya's been well composed with the exception of the 2 delay of games after kickoffs. Other than that, he hasn't really looked like a freshman. 2nd and 10 now. Play action. And hits that strike to Braxton Berrios. Good cross-field throw by Brad Kaya. Things erupting in the backfield.
Yeah, that's Taylor Gadbois.
Randy Gregory and Taylor Gadbois.
That's exactly right.
6'8", 316 against the speedy 6'6", 245 missile.
And you saw the speed rush there for Gregory, and he's on the ground, and Gadbois was not letting him get up very easily. And that was a big-time throw all the way across the field. Your one-on-ones when you face Nebraska are those deep throws all the way across the field.
Duke Johnson, look at him break tackle after tackle and still go past midfield. 7 well-earned yards by Duke Johnson.
You could put him and Abdullah side by side, and you're going to see the same kind of back.
What a show both these guys have put on tonight. So similar in size and style. Both wearing that number 8. 2nd and 3. They run the power here, and it works, picking up the first down. Fumble picked up. That's a live ball. Josh Mitchell. How about this? Touchdown, Nebraska. 47-yard fumble return by the senior Josh Mitchell. Johnson was piled up, and the ball came out. Take a look. That ball is out, Brock.
And that is the 5th-year senior Trevor Roach, who's not seen a ton of time in his career. Been largely a special teams player, and well done, son, ripping through. That's the fundamental football of a well-coached team. We talk about that 3rd quarter and the adjustments you make. Can't do it any better than that, Roach.
Trevor Roach missed all of last year with a torn ligament in his foot. Comes up and makes one of the biggest plays so far this season for the Cornhuskers.
Joe, that's just the 3rd takeaway of the season. You saw the interception earlier from Santos. This is a team that through the first 3 weeks had just 1 takeaway against McNeese State and Fresno State and FAU. And tonight, 2 big takeaways. 1 in the red zone, and you see the love there with Roach, who has fought through in his career here as a redshirt senior, much like Abdullah, a self-made guy that's not a starter, but gets his shot, and he rips and punches that ball right out.
Nebraska defense makes Miami pay the price after Armstrong had been intercepted. Trevor Roach forced it. Josh Mitchell returned it. 31-21 in Lincoln. Let's check in with Chris Cotter. Critical game when it comes to the college football playoff. And Florida State takes it on the chin. A lot of people think you may be looking elsewhere for who's into those 4 beyond the ACC. Of course, people thought that way about the Big Ten, and Bo Pelini said, hold on a second, wait a minute. We don't have a loss yet. I know what happened to Ohio State and Michigan State, but watch out for Nebraska.
This is going to be a guts drive. How much resolve do you have? A game that Al Golden was crystal clear with us this week. It's a big one to change some of the perception of whether the U is back to being who the U used to be when they beat this Nebraska team in critical moments.
That's a mistake by freshman kicker Drew Brown.
Kickoff out of bounds by the kicking team. The ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
Reminder, Monday Night Football will be Bears-Jets Monday at 8:15 on ESPN. It's also available on Watch ESPN. I had a little Jets chat this morning with one Joe Willie Namath on the set of SEC Nation. He is fired up about the Tide.
Looked like it was rocking in Tuscaloosa this morning for you guys.
It's been a great day here. You started off down there in T-Town, and you finish it here in front of this record crowd here in Lincoln. And are they loving this? That defense just came up big. Gregory and company. Randy Gregory, one of the best defensive ends in all of college football. Let's see if they can get after Brad Kaya here. Here's Johnson. Fumbled the last time he touched it. Tackled by Gregory this time.
Gregory plays every down. Now remember, he is coming back from a knee situation that he's missed some time here. Let's see what his conditioning is like in the final 17 minutes of play. And I love what Miami does there. James Coley, offensive coordinator. You could predict that ball was going to go right back to Duke Johnson after the error and the fumble.
Put that in the rearview mirror. That's over with, Duke. Time to get to business now. 2nd and 8. Play action. Kaya. Downfield. Crossing route. Picked off by Nate Gary. Oh, this defense is coming up big here at home. There is a fight at the 25-yard line, and they better be careful. If folks are coming off the bench here, they better hold them back, or they won't be playing in the coming weeks. Another flag is down. The refs are struggling to maintain control here. They're going to have a lot of cleaning up to do.
But the first flag is going to be the most important and the most critical here. The one thrown at the quarterback's feet after the interception was at a hold or the roughing the passer. That will be the most telling, and that was the first real force and mistake you've seen from the true freshman. Trying to get it all back, thrown into the teeth of that coverage. And Pelini, that's what he looked like in our meeting yesterday, talking about the Big Ten. Don't you give me that we're out of it.
Personal foul, roughing the passer defense. 15-yard penalty and a first down. Personal foul, dead ball defense. Personal foul, dead ball offense. The foul's offset. It will be Miami's ball, 1st and 10.
That's ACC referee Dennis Hennigan, who had to undo that. And look at Pelini.
It was after the interception. Get off the field, Bo. Get off the field. I'm not.
You heard him say that was after the interception, and that was terrible, is what Bo Pelini and that staff was yelling to Dennis Hennigan.
No, that's the roughing the passer, and that's why that first flag that went down was the most critical in this conversation.
And thus it negates what would have been a potential big turning point here late in the 3rd. Miami desperate here on this drive, and that was a big moment for Nebraska's defense, but instead it's a first down Miami past midfield.
Time to take a shot here if you're James Coley. I'm going right back, and I'm looking to find a way to take a shot down the field.
See if Kaya does that. Does hit his man for a first down. It's Clive Walford, who's been a pretty good target for him. This is getting testy out there. Every which way Miami and Nebraska are scrapping.
Well, here is the roughing the passer, and it's our guy in the middle there going low. That's Valentine, and he's going low. And they're going to call roughing the passer.
And then
the brouhaha.
The fight subsequent to that. Remember, a point of emphasis this year in college football is low hits on a passer. They basically have created a strike zone for the passer above the knee or below the shoulders. And when they're in that passing posture, defensive player can't come in and hit them low. As Josh Mitchell, who had the 57-yard fumble return for a touchdown just moments ago, is being tended to. Let's go back to the fight that erupted afterwards. Let's see how this thing started. Look up there at the 26-yard line, Brock.
Well, Gregory has been involved in many of these tonight. That was a matchup we knew coming into this game. It's going to get a little bit testy between offense and defense. We've seen Gadbois, the right tackle, and Gregory time and again this evening get in the mix. And then the melee around Josh Mitchell grabbing the face mask.
Little 5'11", 160-pound Josh Mitchell was in there with the 300-pounders getting after it.
And I wonder if there is a little bit of Al Golden that doesn't mind seeing this on this stage tonight.
Pre-game tonight, just 15 minutes before kickoff, Miami was running the circle drill. They were lining up, calling out each other, and going man to man, firing each other up. As loud as could be here in Lincoln. Record crowd. 91,585. And they are roaring after that interception was negated.
They love to use the tight ends.
Back to basics with Duke Johnson.
Brad Kaya got an extra out in baseball right there. A roughing the passer call, negating the interception. And so often in baseball, when you get that extra opportunity, you get that chance, you get that error made by the other team, you find that opponent take advantage of it.
He goes straight over to middle to Dobard and connects. And it is 1st and goal, Miami.
Those tight ends, that is one of their matchup issues. So much focus on these receivers and so much focus in coverage and making sure you're aware of where Dorsett is and Coley is, and these tight ends have played a big role this evening.
Could be the final play of a wildly intense third quarter. Edwards wrapped up by David Santos.
What a quarter.
Nebraska thought maybe they were going to shut the door with an interception. But the penalty kept Miami alive. Fourth quarter, Miami knocking on the door when we come back. Joe Tessitore, Brock Ewart, Shannon Spake here. 31-21 Nebraska to start the fourth quarter. Hey, pregame Miami, we just had a fight. You want intensity? How about the circle drill pregame just before kickoff? Brock, this is the stuff of August high school double sessions, not pre-kick at Nebraska, but it has set the tone for the evening. And that was Taylor Gadbois who was involved there. And look at Miami as they're facing a 2nd and goal. They are pumped up to start this fourth quarter. A second chance after a penalty kept this drive alive and negated a Nebraska interception. Play action. Kaya pressured and thrown down by Randy Gregory.
You're looking at a first-round NFL draft pick, and he's a bit gassed tonight, but not gassed enough to hurdle right over Gus Edwards there. Poor job fundamentally. You better get some pads on some pads there. And instead, our impact player, not just fighting tonight, but getting a critical sack here in the red zone.
3rd and goal from the 16 now. Loss of 11 on the sack. And they go on the ground, and that was smashed by Malik Collins. Oh, he threw him down. Just ragdolled him.
Talk to you about the defensive line at Miami, not winning, not getting off blocks. Take a look at the big fella, Malik Collins, the state heavyweight wrestling champ, using his hands, shedding the blocker there. It is Isadora, and no chance in the backfield. That's how to respond in the fourth quarter if you're Nebraska.
Michael Badgley has never attempted a field goal in college football. Here's his first attempt. And it is pure. Within striking distance. Just a 7-point game now.
One aspect of this as we push into the fourth quarter that I think is fascinating aside, how Al Golden didn't back away from the history of these two programs in this game.
This game screams of the history of these two programs.
And Bo Pelini did not want to make it bigger than any other.
Here's the big man on campus, Amir Abdullah. Changes directions and is able to get to the 25. Here's Chris Cotter.
First and 10, Nebraska from the 25-yard line.
Malachi Dupree, one of the biggest recruits coming into college football this year, helping out LSU. Nebraska by 7. Abdullah always fighting, trying to get a little more. That time nearly out to the 30-yard line.
First 3 weeks of this season for Miami, that was a 0-yard gain. Tonight against Abdullah, that's a 4-yard gain, and that difference is significant because it allows them to have that kind of imbalance. This is going to be a run-first team, and that first down productivity has been so critical this evening.
42-12 run to pass for Nebraska. Armstrong keeps and gets to the edge with it. A first down for the Huskers out to the 43-yard line. A gain of 13 for Tommy Armstrong, the sophomore quarterback.
He has read that zone option very well tonight. A couple miscommunications. I think both he and Abdullah want to continue to run right at this group. By and large, maybe the decision-making in the passing game is questionable. He's been pretty good in their zone read game.
Safety blitz, and Abdullah just gets to the side of it to pick up 2.5 yards.
You can see some of that breakneck tempo has slowed a little bit. Play as hard and as fast as you can was the motto coming into the night. But here, as you're getting into the fourth quarter, you're starting to wear down and have worn down that group.
Second and 7 now. Look at the hole for Abdullah as he cuts back and gets it inside the 30. Amir Abdullah, on a night when he's already become Nebraska's career all-purpose yards leader, tacks on 26 more.
Joe, I have no idea what the safeties are doing tonight for Miami. They were going to play a big role in this game.
What is he filling?
I have no idea what he could possibly be looking at. And secondly, I don't know why he's still lining up 15 yards deep. This is a time where you have got to find a way to get extra numbers to take away the run game, make them get out of their comfort zone, and they're not.
Frazier. As a flag is down, likely holding here.
Holding, offense number 71, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Alex Lewis's name has been called often by Dennis Hennigan.
And he's got tough duty out there. He's in the open field and open space there, left tackle in that zone read, trying to lock down on Darian Owens, the freshman there. That's junior versus freshman, and you've got him by about 70 pounds. Got to get those hands inside, especially when that run bounces to the perimeter.
First and 20 from the 38-yard line.
Watch these safeties. Really felt like they would play a critical role in stopping this run game. Now you see him getting down near the line of scrimmage.
Here's Armstrong now. Looks all too easy, doesn't it? Wasn't touched till he was well downfield as Allen, his receiver, set a nice block, and then Armbruster finally got to him, but 16 more yards.
You can do all the one-on-one drills you want. You could do all the talking and the dancing going into the fourth quarter. You still got to line up and stop the run, something you have not done all evening.
Over 300 yards rushing for Nebraska. Armstrong's coming up on 100 himself.
And that time it was the veteran Armbruster, just a little bit lost with his eyes inside. It's option teams. You got to have tremendous focus and attention to detail, play in and play out.
That time Chickalo wrapped him up. So it'll be third down.
And remember, you've got Badgley on the other side who made his first field goal of his career, but a true freshman in Brown on the other side as well.
Third down and 4. Abdullah comes back in. They only bring 4. Armstrong with time, but it is dropped by Kenny Bell. Penalty flag down at the 17-yard line. We will check on that.
Wow.
Are they pointing offensive pass interference here?
Pass interference, 84 offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's the tight end, Sam Cotton. Did he run a little rub route?
Yeah, that's exactly what he did, and trying to free up some of that chaos, expecting man coverage and getting exactly that. But if you're Sam Cotton, you've got to be a little better actor. You see him coming across, and you have got to, in that situation, get your eyes back. Get your eyes back at the quarterback. You run into that defender, you're going to draw the penalty. Didn't matter. The drop pass there. And the forced field goal.
Drew Brown, great young leg talent, but just a freshman. Pressure spot here from 39 yards. Off the upright and in. You'd rather be lucky than good? Well, he's pretty good. And right there, pretty lucky. 34-24. Back to a 10-point Huskers lead at home.
ESPN College Football Primetime is brought to you by Allstate. Are you in good hands? And DiGiorno. It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Big night for senior running back Amir Abdullah. 199 rushing yards. He's on his way to becoming the first Nebraska running back with 3 1,000-yard seasons if he can stay the course. And tonight he passed Johnny Rogers as Nebraska's all-time career all-purpose yards leader. (34-24) Nebraska. Stacy Coley struggled to corral that for a moment. Let's look at this week's rankings, brought to you by Capital One. As there could be some shuffling to these rankings. Clemson and Florida State tied up right now as they will get ready to start the 4th. LSU in a real fight with Mississippi State as well. Everybody thinks everything's going to follow the script. It's never how it happens in this sport, Brock.
Well, not this year. Not with the SEC West that's been eat each other alive. The Pac-12 that's very difficult. You're seeing in Oklahoma go into a much improved West Virginia. A tremendous parity going to make every week so very interesting.
Brad Kaya, the 19-year-old freshman, gets it to Malcolm Lewis, who was pushed out into his own bench by David Santos.
Miami's had the resolve on back-to-back drives. They come out in the third quarter, their first possession, move it down the field, get the benefit of the roughing the passer, that while you may not like that call, that is the rule this year and the point of emphasis. When Valentine hits Kaya low to get a field goal, and with just under 9 minutes to go, the most critical of responses has to come right now.
Come up with that double A gap blitz. They send it downfield and over the top, and what a catch by Philip Dorsett. He went right over Daniel Davies, snagged the ball nearly against Davies' back for the incredible reception. Look at this.
One of the rare occasions against Davey, you actually get one-on-one with no safety over the top. That's because Nebraska brought some pressure on that early down situation, and you can't do it any better than that.
Right off his helmet, Brock. Ball was flush against Davies' helmet. Screen to the freshman Barrios. They were on top of that in a second. That was Davey himself.
Talking about response, how about Davey getting beat there on the fade route, and he comes right back and beats the block of Dorsett. That's what corners have to do. You hear it all the time. You're going to get beat. You've got to put that play behind you and play the next snap. That's well done from the redshirt junior.
Here's Duke. 8 yards there. Duke Johnson getting into space. And that is Vincent Valentine. Big physical run plugger for Nebraska. As the training staff will come out to see Vincent.
He's been a difference maker. He and Collins, you saw Collins with the big sack, and Bo Pelini's energy has never wavered this evening.
Especially in that final minute of the third quarter. And both teams were held back from running out into the field. We had a turnover, a roughing the passer, a fight. Fiery moment as Valentine able to walk off the field. Third and 4 for Miami. 7.5 minutes to play. Nebraska has answered each and every time.
And
can their defense come up with a stop here?
Your inability to stop Nebraska's run makes this, in my estimation, 4-down territory.
Agreed. Because you know what's happened when Herbie Husker's offense has been on the field. Kaya, 3rd and 4. Looked like there was contact there, and there is the flag. The official threw the flag from the 5-yard line, lunged, and he himself ended up on the field. Braxton Berrios and Cockrell colliding.
There is no foul for defensive pass interference.
You heard what he said, and thus 4th and 4. Watch this official, Brock.
Joe, it's
given the full effort.
It's been a very emotional night. Been very taxing on everybody in the building. That's a good call. That's a poorly thrown pass. I don't like a poorly thrown pass to be rewarded, and Cockrell had a little contact, but it didn't interfere with Berrios' ability to come back and catch it.
4th down.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Nebraska.
Nebraska takes a timeout. Their defense looking for the 4th down stop. Miami trying to stay alive. Fourth down and 4. What does Miami have in them? Kaya, plenty of time. Intercepted. Josh Kalu. And they're right back at it. Second time tonight, this thing's gotten ugly. Remember what happened at the end of the third quarter. And now again, these two with that long-standing shared history.
And there's going to be no penalty for roughing the passer that's going to negate this interception. A young freshman that unfortunately didn't see the whole coverage in front of him. An experienced safety that picks him off, and lots of activity, extracurricular activity after the pick.
After the play was over, dead ball, personal foul, Miami number 62. Dead ball, personal foul, Miami number 76. Both fouls will be enforced. It'll be Nebraska's ball, first down.
Miami gets into empty. Kaya's eyes never come off the one read. He never sees the underneath coverage there with Joshua Kalu, the true freshman. And here comes Gregory talking smack that whole time out, and that's clean. As a quarterback, you know you throw a pick, you're gonna get hit. That's not clean. That's not clean.
Offensive lineman coming in saying they want to protect their QB.
That's a redshirt senior in McDermott, the center, saying, I am not going to take any of that nonsense. You hit my quarterback. That's Gadbois, who has been fighting all game long with Randy Gregory. The turnover and 30 critical yards of penalties.
Oh, man!
This is getting ugly.
This is getting real ugly. McCord just ripped down Amir Abdullah. And thank goodness he got up injury-free after that.
And the get-back coach.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 17. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That get-back coach in Miami sidelines is trying to keep those Canes behind the line. There is no face mask there, unfortunately. He's around the neck of Abdullah.
It just gave the appearance of a face mask with how violent and sudden it was.
Now, if you get a piece of that helmet, though,
that counts.
That's right.
Abdullah has gone over 200 yards. Check in with Chris Cotter.
Seven from the 19-yard line.
Clemson's had every opportunity to knock off number one, it sounds like. As Abdullah continues to add to his big night. You know, Brock, these two teams, and we've talked about it all week long in the build-up to this game, you think Miami, Nebraska, you think of those classic bowl games back in the 80s and 90s. This feels like the tone and tenor of some of those Miami teams from back in that day and age of what we've seen here in this second half.
Joe, it feels like it, but you know what the difference is? Tough guys win the run game.
That's right.
You want to be the ultimate tough guy and have the swagger, then you don't get run on for 300 yards.
You can add to that. It's going to be first and goal, Nebraska.
Because
they're going to look to put this thing away.
And Ed Reed and those boys and Russell Maryland and Cortez Kennedy, yeah, they had that swag. They played with that edge, but they also got themselves off the field, and they did not let an opponent run right down their throat for 4 quarters. Over 330 rushing yards right now for Nebraska.
Haven't said his name enough. Denzel Perryman. Miami star linebacker. It was Armbruster once again, the crowd reacting with that potential arm tackle up high that pushed back Abdullah for a moment.
On the flip side, Taylor Gadbois and Shane McDermott, some of that Miami offensive line has played with an edge. They played some of that nasty football tonight. They've not taken anything from Randy Gregory or that Nebraska defense, but it's this side of the ball where it's been debilitating. This side of the ball where really Nebraska has broken the will of this front seven by just running, frankly, right at them.
Armstrong was looking to the side, and there was a false start. 52 running plays out of their 65 offensive plays.
Offense number 56, 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's Mark Bellini, the center, coach's nephew. His dad is Bo's brother Vince.
Squatty body in the dictionary.
Just think of centers as being the smart guys on the line.
5'11", and close to 300 pounds.
One of the many Cardinal Mooney Youngstown, Ohio connections in this program. Here's second and goal, and there's the door being slammed. 10-yard touchdown run by one of the very best in all of college football, Amir Abdullah, 229 yards rushing tonight.
Do all the dancing you want, do all the talking, do all the fighting and all the celebrating. But when push came to shove, it was shoving it right in your face with this run game.
Just moments ago, it was all on the line for Miami. They were facing a fourth down, and the freshman threw the pick. That teed up Amir Abdullah. Nebraska's plenty alive for the playoffs. Plenty to talk about to get you set for your day. The NFL starts at 10 a.m. with Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers and fantasy football fans. Get everything you need to know on Fantasy Football Now, presented by Papa John's at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Oh, what a night for Amir Abdullah. Career high in rushing attempts and 229 yards on the ground.
Speaking of that Philadelphia and NFL team, Chip Kelly could use him with the Eagles. Do you think his skill set would fit in an NFL that I think Chip Kelly is starting to change some of the nature of?
Dorsett had the ball bounce right into his hands there on the return. Let's check in with Chris Cotter.
Yeah, tough, fake tough guys.
So number one Florida State could get upset tonight. College football playoff. Who's in? Bo Pelini this week offended by anybody saying the Big Ten's out of the equation. They're sitting here trying to close this thing up and go to 4-0. That was a worm burner looking Berrios.
Look at Gregory still talking. You better keep an eye on Randy Gregory here in the final 4 minutes. He continues to have conversation on nearly every single play and has throughout this evening. This has gone from a little further than Chippy.
We passed Chippy long ago. Duke Johnson. Good surge by the Duke. Trevor Roach, who forced that key fumble earlier tonight, was able to make the tackle. Joe Yerbian at running back now from Miami. That was batted down as Kaya was trying to get the shallow crossing route to Waters. But McMullen was able to get his hand up. Kaya, those 2 interceptions thrown tonight. The one earlier in this fourth quarter on 4th down. Here's Dorsett as he crosses midfield.
Now you got to get up and get going here and get your tempo running. Crazier things have happened. You got a couple timeouts, all 3 timeouts, in fact. This is a chance. Got to hurry up.
This thing's about to go under 3 minutes as Al Golden looks on.
Crank up that sense of urgency.
Is that a live ball? That ball did not go forward, as that looked like it was a fumble. A backward pass and a live ball marked all the way back at the 37-yard line.
And guess who? Randy Gregory once again with the swim move on Gadbois.
And he got his arm. Obviously not a forward pass there. As a loss of 15. They're going to take a look here and review this play.
Husker fans, your game day continues.
Now, you brought it up right at the beginning of this broadcast. Bo Pelini and his fiery attitude when folks were quick to dismiss the Big Ten, as we'll take a peek here at what they're looking at. You didn't see the ball come forward and release and get batted back. Ball clearly goes behind him here as
before his arm ever gets
Gregory
going forward. Yep.
was able to get a piece of his arm.
Replay booth been pretty efficient tonight. I think spot on every call.
You tell me the road ahead for Nebraska, Brock.
I see a win on homecoming next week with an Illinois team that's still struggling to find their identity, and then it becomes an enormous game. Michigan State rolled and has rolled since that Oregon loss. That's going to be a marquee game. Northwestern, Rutgers, Purdue, you're going to be favored. So you're looking at 2 huge games away from home. With Wisconsin and Michigan State, I think the 2 teams in this Big Ten still in the mix. Michigan State, just based on rankings and performance and how topsy-turvy a Saturday we had once again.
After further review of the ruling on the field stands.
Bo Pelini's point, I think more than anything yesterday, while emotional at times, was can we just let this season breathe a little bit and let it play itself out and not anoint Georgia week number 1 or Texas A&M and give everybody a real fair shake to just see what kind of teams we are.
Not in this sport, right? Everybody loves to react.
Yes, and every week matters.
And every week everybody's shocked. So that made for a 2nd and 25. As that was caught by Yearby after it was partially deflected. Roach makes the tackle.
Hustle up now. Get to the line of scrimmage. Still a couple minutes to play. 3 timeouts. And I just, look at how much time you are taking here. That is a play after a big play, and you get a chunk play. Get up to the line and get this thing called. You've seen now 10 to 15 seconds already coming off the clock.
There's the freshman Kaya, as just over a minute and a half remains, trailing by 17. How do you assess Kaya when you see him in a spot like this tonight on the road in front of a record crowd?
He's pretty poised. I don't care what quarterback you are. When your defense gets run on for 346 yards, you're not on the field. You don't get much time of possession. The interception earlier was a fabulous play by Santos, a bit of a force. And then unfortunately on that 4th down, you get an empty and he just gets locked in. But by and large, I think he's had tremendous resolve, has shown the kind of poise that we had heard talked about coming into this game. And he had a defense tonight that's given up 41 that just was no benefit to this offense.
Timeout, Nebraska.
So a timeout, Nebraska, with 1:34 remaining. Nebraska's got something that you and I talk about often when we discuss offenses. They got a great sense of self. They know exactly what they are. And they've got one of the best players in the country to go after it.
When you can hang your hat on who you are in the critical moments, it's hugely advantageous. And on top of that, when your best players are your hardest workers, and that's what you have here. Amir Abdullah is your hardest worker in the weight room. He sets the tone for everything, and his relentless play on the field is infectious to the rest of this team.
And he gets you everything a play is blocked for and then some. And talked about the balance that he has, the stiff arm, every which way. He's just maximizing his productivity.
You love big men?
I do.
Okay, if there's a big man in the backfield, refrigerator Perry star, maybe, 85, maybe that's where it all started. You know what I love, Joe?
What's that?
I love self-made guys. I love guys that come into a program and are so much better when they leave it.
And that's Amir Abdullah. 4th down and 3. Kaya. And he picks it up as he finds Walford, who's been a very reliable target for him.
Gregory, once again, just mixing it up with whoever he can tonight.
You talk about Gregory mixing it up, and what we've seen here in this second half. If I was down there in the sideline, I'd start having some conversations right now about what's going to happen in about 1 minute and 15 seconds when this game ends, because they need to separate these two teams. Good crossing route that time. Walford down to about the 11-yard line.
Along those lines, it may make sense for Bo Pelini to grab Gregory and get some people around him and get him off the field.
Yeah, just leave the field now.
Just get off the field. There's nothing that's going to be healthy or productive here in the final 60 seconds. It's clear based on the sense of urgency here that Miami doesn't think they've got a chance to have a miraculous ending in Lincoln.
Duke Johnson. And keep his balance to the goal line, yes. So tack one on for Duke Johnson here. An 11-yard touchdown reception. Stretches out there. Tough to see the knee at that angle. Let's look here for his knee.
The ruling on the field was a touchdown. The play is under further review.
That's going to be awfully close, and I know Duke Johnson's going to be kicking himself over that fumble he had. That left knee down before he crosses.
It's close. Watch his thigh here, actually. See if perhaps his thigh grazes the ground. And you see Davies in the way there to get the indisputable video evidence. Remember, ruling on the field was a touchdown.
That's right. You can't assume.
Nope. And at that angle, you saw Roach, who was tumbling forward, was in the way of showing you that knee. Here's another look. Very close.
The challenge for Duke Johnson tonight, and really this Miami team, and why Al Golden told us coming into Lincoln, Nebraska, where his eyes will be, is on the line of scrimmage, because he knows if you can't stop the run, you can go back 100 years. I don't care what the matchup is, what the schools are. When you can't stop the run, your margin of error becomes so small offensively, and one fumble can really turn the tide. That's Al Golden talking to John Feliciano, the left guard, the senior there. And this offensive line has been real testy and scrappy tonight as well.
It's been asked of Duke Johnson. Remember, he suffered that broken ankle last year against Florida State.
After further review, when the runner's knee was down, the ball was at the 1-yard line. The ball be placed at the 1-yard line, 1st and goal.
So they're going to take the touchdown off the board and make it 1st and goal.
And this feels like a run situation. When I see a head coach in the ear of that offensive line, the way that Al Golden was for that 2 minutes, I feel hey, you want to make a final statement here, then get on the 1-yard line and do our one-on-one drills and drive these guys back into the end zone. May not affect the final outcome score-wise in the win-loss, but pride.
And they stacked him up. Marcus Newby came in there. And Golden wants to use a timeout. And I think much to your point of what he's trying to accomplish with his team. Remember people saying last year they were back after beating Florida, and he wanted to temper it a bit. Struggle with the issues with depth. Talked about how this game would be a little more fitting for trying to claim that they're back on the road with the scholarship limitations and certain rebuilding aspects.
Well, they are better. Now, you can watch the tape, and we could see it here in person. Their overall team speed, especially offensively, is much, much better. But this is going to be a tough flight home. It's going to be tough tape to watch for this pretty proud group defensively. 10 upperclassmen. A bunch of seniors in that front tonight that really got dominated. And a schedule there that you look at it, and a much better Duke team. Georgia Tech team that went into Virginia Tech today and went on the road and got a win. This has got to be Duke Johnson here, and this is your one-on-one drills, the same drills that we saw in warm-ups.
Heavy package here, 3 tights, fullback in Regula, I formation. Play action out of it. Kaya to the end zone, he overthrew the intended target, and that was Standish Dobard. Crowd wants every bit of this thing right down to the final seconds here, and they're going to get what they want there on 3rd and goal. They're going in the wrong direction. Cooper comes up with a big play. They took a touchdown off the board, made it 1st and goal, and it's still tough going for Miami.
Well, the biggest crowd in the history of this stadium, I don't think they mind this. There's going to be some crowds that say, oh, come on, let us beat traffic and get home. Not this fan base.
Yeah, not the way this second half has gone either. This has been a nasty, hard-fought second half.
And they wanted them here. They wanted them in this stadium, not in the Orange Bowl. For all those meaningful games and all the history, this is an incredibly proud fan base. One of the best in all of college football, and 336 consecutive record sellouts speaks to that. This is a fan base that doesn't mind these timeouts at the end.
Largest crowd to ever watch a Nebraska home game here, 91,585. This, by the way, the first of a home-and-home series with the Canes.
Which is also,
they're going to play at Miami September 19th next year.
Which is also a credit to both the universities and the athletic departments and the administration for putting it together and be willing to play a tough game out of conference.
4th and goal. And his place is as loud as when the game was tied up. They're sending them after Kaya. Touchdown Canes, Braxton Berrios. So they get it any which way. And it comes with 18 seconds remaining. Berrios himself a very big recruit who bought into what Al Golden is trying to build here.
Well, he's one of those 17 that has helped. Those 17 that have come in and played as true freshmen and really pushed the veterans, pushed the depth, and actually have found a way to get on the field that over the long term is going to be very beneficial for the program.
Andy Gregory has been a part of the tone of this second half. A few fights had to be broken up. A little scuffle after an interception was thrown, and the line took offense to Brad Kaya, their quarterback, being brought down, and some nasty tackles and some talk. And I think there's a few assistant coaches rounding up some of that gang and thinking about how they're going to get them out of here without a conflict.
And that's exactly what Bo Pelini is talking about as well.
You could sense this thing coming. We brought it up a few minutes ago. Just based on what we saw, are they going to try to manage this situation? Yeah, that's exactly what Bo Pelini's thinking about. And I think that's the right thing to do. Nobody needs to lose an All-America player for future games. They're telling Randy Gregory, what do you say we head in early? What do you say you hang out with the get-back coach a little bit?
Yeah. What do you say about in a statement game of the Big Ten who responded this weekend, Joe? Indiana went to Missouri, 18th ranked Missouri,
playing well,
and won. Nebraska takes on a maybe not the powerhouse, not the powerhouse that Miami used to be, but took them on. And based on what the Big Ten did the first 3 weeks of the season, you'd have some real concern of how this one turned out, and instead they enforced their will.
And Badgley will kick the onside kick here. That traveled 10 yards. And a flag came down. Looked like there was contact prior to the 10 yards.
Illegal touching of the kick by the kicking team before the ball went 10 yards. It will be Nebraska's ball, 1st and 10.
Emotional game.
Sure was.
A lot of passion on both sides.
Bo Pelini's star player Amir Abdullah had 229 rushing yards, had 313 all-purpose yards tonight, and 3 total touchdowns. Remember, it has to travel 10 yards before a Miami player can touch it. How does 4-0 sound for Nebraska? They have won 14 straight home night games. And a true freshman quarterback, still 20-plus years, haven't had a winner here. 400th win all time at Memorial Stadium in front of a record crowd of over 91,000. Nebraska rushed for 346 yards against the Canes. They move forward 41-31. We got more football tonight on ESPN. You got Oregon, Washington State on ABC. The finish at Clemson, Florida State. Up next will be Sports Center. For Shannon Spake and Brock Heward and the entire crew from here in Lincoln, Nebraska, I'm Joe Tessitore. Have yourself a great night.